priority picks that you can grab for LNG as a first pick here. And I think we saw JDG use that to their strength in game number 2. The Tristana was key to that.
Yeah, so wanting to go for that over any of the other options that we brought up, things like the Renekton, I think could have been a good shout if you're like, all right, well, things like the Azir and the Jayce are still up, so there's other mid lane options viable. But this is also a flex, so I get it coming through, especially with things like Sejuani and Maokai both banned away. But that's actually going to send... Ooh, I was going to say, if JDG lock in, the Jayce is kind of spicy, just because of what we've been seeing, right? We've been seeing Lilia bans come out from LNG. You know, Kanavi, someone who's brought out the Elise this split. Like, he is someone who has other AP junglers in the pool that he's willing to bring out, and that makes things like Jayce still so incredibly powerful for their side.
There's always the point of pressure if JDG decide to flip the switch and let Kanavi loose with a carry. But that will have to be a question mark still, as Jayce does get locked in.
So we're going to go with that one. So again, we have to keep our eyes on if they do decide to go jungle 3 and not let it get banned out. Now for LNG, I'm really surprised that neither team is leaning in like heavier into the Renekton just yet. For LNG, Jax, bringing that one out early now that it's finally left open with the fact that JDG swapped over and the aim coming through. Something that has obviously really fallen off since the nerfs to her Q on this patch. She's been picked up twice in playoffs so far, once by Yagao and once by Shanks, and both were losses.
Scout trying to change the fate of the Annie and also trying to change the fate of LNG. He said in an earlier interview he wants to be the guy that can bring his team to a championship. And he's had a heck of a running so far in the playoffs, but as well as this whole split. We'll see if this combo comes through. I like the comfort for Zika. I like a lot of that side lane pressure on the Jax. We do get that Aphelios for Ruler. And if you didn't watch a lot of the early season, a lot of the season of the LPL, this guy had clips worthy of the top 5 in almost every single week on this champion.
I'm curious where JDG go with their bans. You could ban out... I was wondering if they'd go for like some support bans coming through. If they would maybe take away something like an Alistar. If you decide to put Rell down in that bot lane, you know, one of the things that can be a little bit more of an annoyance with her. And then you have the kind of double jump in from a Tristana Alistar. But instead, wanting to make sure the same level of side lane threat isn't there from Tarzan. We know he's already locked this one in earlier on to where for LNG, they're trying to make it so 369 is forced into the knife fight. We're wondering if he has a matchup where he can contend. And I love that LNG are trying to take him off his comfort.
You gotta put the focus where you can. And I think that Ornn was actually a pretty big part to JDG's game 2 win. A lot of the engage, but also that extra scaling given to the team composition.
Exactly.
We want to see if actually a lot of that focus comes through from JDG, as this last ban is Alistar.
Yep, so going with the expected Alistar ban, I like that one when you've already locked in the Rell, and I wouldn't be surprised if JDG do just opt into putting it down towards the bot lane, but I like you highlight that 369 in team fights was good last game, even if his early game not exactly there and had just some mechanical misplays, if we're being honest, like some of the headbutts that he did end up going for. So now final ban from the side of LNG. I wonder what you can even go for here. Maybe a Poppy. Huh, so they will just go with the Lilia, which is one of the things that we highlighted. We said Kanavi is someone who has other AP junglers left in the pool. Gragas, 369's pocket pick, which still does phenomenally into the Jax, shuts down a lot of what he does in that 1v1. So at least we know, assuming that this doesn't get swapped over to jungle, that 369 should be having a great time on his
Let's go. Let's go. We get the Tarzan Lee Sin, my dude. Hong's going to pop in that Nautilus, but this is a comp that LNG can fight with.
So LNG still looking to be a team on the front foot. I think very good read of how their early games have been going to allow for this one to come through. And now going to be looking to keep that same level of aggression for JDG. It seems like they're still toying around with some of their options. If they had gone with the Poppy, it would have been quite interesting because both Poppy and Gragas technically are like double flexes between top and jungle, but instead bringing out the Milio. So I think having a lot more of a stock and standard setup with Gragas in the top lane, Kanavi going to be on that Rell. And a bit of mid-game skirmishing power definitely here for the side of JDG. I think a lot going to be on Kanavi, especially with those Magnet Storms when you have a lot of like lower range champions on the side of JDG to set up for like a big accelerated shock blast as well as a Moonlight Vigil on top of it. And then who knows, maybe 369 even gets like a perfect like body bop into cast. Everyone could just be deleted on the side of LNG.
For me, Missing's Ultra Mega Fire Kicks are going to be so big here. You can stop so much of the engage because it interrupts in the middle. Erupt from the cave, and JDG now have burst onto the scene with a triumphant Game 2 win. Let those gyos ring as Game 3 kicks off. Crowd feels electric in Xi'an, and LNG needing all the help they can get to muster up some strength. I love that adaptation we're talking about from draft, but again, Tarzan, a lot of weight on his shoulders, as has been the case in a lot of his tenure for LNG.
Yeah, a lot to be done, and like we said, he has had some insane splits where he was clearly, the best jungler in the LPL. Sadly, never able to find a championship really during any of those peaks that he's had. Is okay. 369 gonna spot him out, just gonna say hello, not gonna allow Zika to go fishing today. We always love to see. You don't need any extra 1 gold on Jax. You know what we could do with
5
1 gold, Mazel?
or health trade? Which one's more important?
The health trade. Definitely the health trade.
I think you might be right. We do get this opposite side starts for both Kanavi and Tarzan. That's something I want to take a look at, because I think Tarzan, we were talking about some of those big splits, but I think something that has been consistently clear for him is the way he thinks about pathing and the way he can attack early with his unique pathing style as well. Kanavi, one, not to be, taken a shy of that because he himself is big brain, but I think Tarzan here will need to find some of that.
Right, you're right. I mean, Tarzan has always been someone who, pretty much throughout every iteration of LNG, he's been the ones who has to get things kick-started. He's had some great invades over his time. Hell, he pretty much was the best Poppy we had when Poppy Jungle became meta. I just remember the amount of aggression he brought there. So now, his path will end up towards the top side unless he elects to go for any sort of invade, which he might. We see pinks coming out now, but JDG has some nice early wards. So he's already going to be spotted. Kanavi's going to be able to make his way down, and Missing might be able to go and reinforce his jungler if any shenanigans happen.
That health trade's going to go the way of Gala, and Hung, though, Missing in some trouble. The burn, Gala wants it. He's going to immediately have to flash. Tarzan coming in here. This is a dicey one. And here comes Kanavi, full charge on. Missing wants to try to follow up, but Tarzan and Gala will make it out. They burn both summoner spells.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's 2 summoner spells for 3, right? Missing losing both of his, but LNG, you got Galas, which feel like the more critical ones. I will say
that was bold from Gala.
It was honestly insane. But it means if Missing oversteps, he should just outright die. But now Gala way more susceptible. 2 ganks for the next few minutes. I think it means Tarzan's going to have to lean a lot more around bot side, but stun.
Scout, he gets the stun. Tarzan trying to follow up here, but doesn't have the damage to stick, and the knockback from Knight's perfectly timed.
Yeah, really good patience by Knight. Completely calm in the situation, knows how to play it out, so he's going to have to go for a reset and use his TP early, but that's another flash dedicated from a member of LNG, so we're going to get to a point where Kanavi's going to have his pick of the litter with ganks, with, easy targets potentially to punish.
I want to go back to that little bot lane scuffle that happened as well, because I feel like in a world where LNG get that for Gala, that means that you have so much pressure in lane with this duo. You have so much to play around dragons, things like that from the blue side as well. So I could see why that desperation comes out, just trying to get an upper end on the ruler Missing combo down here, especially because Milio provides so much of that safety once you get these levels under you, once you get that breath of life.
Yeah, I mean, also in that situation specifically, because Tarzan was there, he would have been fine if Ruler tried to chase him on the way out. So I understand what they were looking for with the play, and it didn't really cost them anything other than those summoners. So as long as they can keep up vision, that won't mean anything. It looks like Hung has an idea now that Kanavi's around here.
If Scout comes down, that's the crash down from Kanavi. They are setting up a bait-and-a-half here.
Yeah.
Here comes Scout. He doesn't have level 6, but Hung takes the early advantage. The dredge line back in. Mountain back up is Kanavi. He doesn't have any way out of here. He's just trying to get to Missing. The Ultra Mega Fire Kick is there to bounce back, but Kanavi goes down to first blood. It goes to none other than Gala.
And it's those wards coming out, spotting out Kanavi's invade. And then I love how patient they play it, right? They could just bring down Scout right away and maybe try to find the pick, but no, they don't want to risk it. They know he still has his flash up, and even sells things like the crash down to try to get away. You know, the bot lane can pitch roam over, so they wait for Tarzan. They're able to run it in. Now JDG going to be trying to play off some of the spot lane pressure. Ruler now getting a big wave in. Only going to have a small CS advantage as Gala manages to pick most of this up.
It's the beauty of the Tristana. You get a lot of that extra CS clear, but I did like a lot of that move from JDG down bottom side just to try to put some pressure down there. But the fact that Gala has this kill, this is what he was looking for early on, to just keep that pressure up in the bottom side. It will actually be Kanavi taking advantage of some of this misplaced aggression, or I guess placed aggression, and try to take this dragon.
Also, the fact that LNG's play around bot side came not too long ago, I think reading that, hey, you know, Tarzan had to have made his way up to around that top side, clear out some of those camps, it just gives him a great timing to pick this one up with no reaction from LNG. So at least getting their hands on some early objectives this time around, because LNG have done a really good job at making sure that they start fast-tracking those, and then when it comes to mid-game, they're the ones who have a lot more options in terms of how they want to play the map, knowing LNG will have to react.
Red side has just been first Dragon King at this point. Both games before LNG were able to find a lot of those early stackings. Kanavi going for some alcove gameplay. Tarzan right here, ready to go. We'll see if the 3v3 actually amounts to anything. We don't have level 6s just yet. Tarzan's going to make the first move. Kanavi's been waiting this entire time. Tarzan comes around the edge. They'll see Kanavi. They knock down Hung, but he gets the Spider-Man grab into the turret. Should be Ruler just putting in some work with those warm hugs. And actually a reset having to come out from Hung.
There's no way they'd be playing that far forward and that aggressively when Tarzan showing without Kanavi being there. So LNG very quickly realizing, hey, this ain't a 3v2. Kanavi's in the area backing off. But yeah, just going to allow Ruler and Missing to keep up this pressure. And this is what we were hitting on. They're so good at trying to dominate in these 2v2s. Obviously this game, they're trying to utilize Missing's pressure quite a bit. But finding a plate and now starting to get some gold onto Ruler to match that first blood that Gala was able to get.
That combo just becomes so scary once you get to team fights. We've seen Ruler's highlight-worthy plays all split long on the Aphelios, but the fact that Missing is on the Milio just provides a lot of safety to the team. And I think in this one, you're getting a lot of that aggression from the composition of LNG. That still comes with a pretty high bar of execution, and we haven't necessarily seen Tarzan find the promise he might have been looking for. He's been aggressive, he's been everywhere on the map, but now with another objective coming up, I look for them to keep pressing.
Yeah, he's been looking for a lot of plays, right? Just some of them haven't been able to succeed. We think about one of the earlier mid lane plays where Scout did flash get the stun off, but they weren't able to find the kill on tonight. Now with Herald up, you expect them to look for that one. I think they should even be slightly favored, having things like Nautilus doing so much in these early skirmishes. Annie plus Lee Sin brings a lot of burst, but it seems like for right now they're not comfortable with it. They know that Ruler is pushing bot lane. He's now not showing anywhere on the map, so they have an idea that he's making his way up towards mid.
And I guess that's where I start to ask that question of, like, I did peg, you know, LNG's team to really need those early advantages. Feels like they're pretty confident to take these mid-game skirmishes potentially and just stack up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, you look at JDG's comp and it's like, you know, they're not going to be too overtly tanky. Like, again, Kanavi not just going to get to that point of power, which was the gold he's getting later on. 369's going the AP route. You don't have a tank for a support. So I feel like LNG know they're going to have the burst all game long. They have DPS coming out from the Tristana and the Jax, and how those scale and the kind of threat the Zika will be later on. So it definitely won't turn into like crazy dire straits, despite the fact that you see Elise and Annie, you might think, hey, like they want to get the ball rolling. It's like, no, they could get the ball rolling, but they'll definitely still have options as the game progresses.
Gala doesn't have a lot of options down here. He's all by himself. He has level 6. That's the buster shot. Can he get the early one onto Kanavi? Does end up getting out with the rocket jump. So 2 plates do end up going over to Ruler, but Gala survives.
Ultimately, still benefits JDG just in isolation with getting those plates, but obviously we see LNG picked up the Rift Herald. One of JDG's plates came much earlier, so this wasn't necessarily like a 2-plate for Rift Herald trade. It might turn into it if this keeps going. But now we're going to need to keep our eyes on Tarzan and what he ends up doing with this Herald, because they haven't taken plates anywhere on the map. Ideally, I think you'd want to funnel that gold into your Tristana, so bot lane would be the best bet, unless they look for any type of, like, let's say rotation where they swap their bot lane to mid and drop it then. But point is, get the gold on Gala. Gala can do
Yeah.
things with money.
I would much rather see it go that way, especially with how important this Tristana is going to be in the compositional strength of LNG. You look for Scout, Tarzan. If they have found some early advantages, that becomes a deadly duo. But now you're looking at Gala to be the deadly part of LNG. They will be focused down here. Not going to be caught out. It will be the flash burn by Hung.
Oh, and I love it. Tarzan trying to be patient to find something in mid.
He's like, we didn't find it early, but I want to find it now. There's the Tivers combo. That's what we were waiting on. And Tarzan strikes second as another kill comes through. This time he gets the gold.
The patience being there. They are going to end up dropping Herald in mid. Zika.
Oh,
that was so close.
Tried to get him.
369. What a gangster. What a gangster 369 is. But still, LNG, they're winning out this play, right? They find the kill in mid. They drop the Herald. It might not be gold on the Tristana, but it's always nice to start breaking mid lane turrets early on if they can get their hands on the second Herald as well. That'll guarantee they open up the map. And then LNG, I mean, this Lee Sin Annie will be just a full-on roaming death squad.
Yeah, I love it because we were just talking about like, oh, you know, maybe not find that, you know, start going over towards Gala. Tarzan, no, this composition, this duo, it has to work. We have to find something. And guess what? He found the promised land.
It also makes sense when JDG have literally been living bot lane. Like Kanavi has just been there for forever. So they see a window in mid lane, goes for the kick, sets up with the stun. That just allows the Sonic Wave to land so easily. And they finish that one right off the bat. But JDG in the meantime, going to be able to pick off a second Drake off of this. Hell, and with how much gold Ruler is being funneled with those plates, with the amount of jungle attention he's getting in bot lane, he's already picked up his Kraken Slayer.
They find 2 dragons early on red side, as has been the case in all the games so far in this series. And now just constantly hovering over Ruler and missing is Kanavi. He has been down here for the past 5 minutes, and I don't think he's going anywhere.
I just want to imagine Coach Home was absolutely pissed in the back. Like, you guys have been sucking these first 2 games. Ruler's not sucking. Go play around bot. And
just
you know,
hover Ruler. Just go to him.
He didn't use the belt, but he kind of like unshackled the belt a little bit, and he was like, "This is an option, boyos."
You think he put
Step
like
up.
a giant picture of Ruler on the front, like?
No,
I guess I was gonna call it a chalkboard.
Because
whatever board he has.
he can't show too much favoritism, even if he's performing.
I see.
He still has to know that he can be the disciplinary. So I'm hoping LNG's coaching staff and Poppy's like, "You guys are doing good. Keep it up."
Keep it up. Keep it up.
They have. They've been doing good.
They have. I've actually been really impressed. And again, we talk a lot about momentum. I do, at least for LPL, and it feels like they were able to carry some of that momentum from their first series of this playoffs. I do want to look out, though. Knight has that Dust Plate completed. We did go Gore Drinker on the other side for Tarzan, so some safety in that regard. That poke is going to start hurting for JDG.
Yeah, we're going to rely on the poke, but for LNG, they're going to rely a lot on not giving an opportunity. We saw how quickly that last play was executed by LNG. You look at the amount of engage. I mean, Tarzan able to flank, find the kick, Scout with his stun, Hung with his stuns. I mean, Zika as well, if he ever joins in, just being able to helicopter right in, take multiple people down. So that does give LNG a lot of windows to deny those opportunities from coming over. And now with no neutral objective up on the map anytime soon, we're a little bit away from Herald. It feels like we're still just trying to see if we can find any plays, but I'd love to see LNG start pivoting up and starting to work some vision around this Rift Herald, because right now with the Ludens picked up, you're getting into a place where in these skirmishes, you're really going to be able to barrel ahead and start trying to accelerate that gold lead more than the like 800 you have right now.
I feel like it's a situation where, you know, JDG have their feet set. They're looking ahead at their opponent. It's going to be hard to take them down. They're going to be looking like they have some roots in their feet. But LNG, if you can find them before they're set up, before they really have that strength and safety, that's where you can take full advantage. We did get Gala also completing that Kraken Slayer here, so the Tristana going to start hurting a little bit more. Still rating on that, you know, second, third item spike there for him. But I think Scout and Gala never more important than right now for LNG.
Exactly. 369 did also just pick up his Everfrost, which could, you know, very much help in these fights, being able to lock someone down, burst them out right away. But I definitely like you highlighting Gala and Scout, as they're going to need to be the key players. Herald now only 30 seconds away, so we see Tarzan making his way over. Hung's already been over here for a little bit now with Gala in the mid lane, so getting a bit more aggressive vision, and that's going to set themselves up for success in the coming team fights, because I'm assuming JDG are going to opt in with how their lane allocations have been set up.
Oh, this is so big. Ooh. Tarzan would actually land that one. The kick combo could have been there, right? Try to catch out 369 before this Rift Herald comes up, but not able to do it. Looks like they might just start that one up or go towards mid lane. We have a fight brewing as well, Lyric.
I like the Knight's trying to stop the recall coming out from Zika, make sure he can't finish off his Mythic, because right now, if they both TP in, Knight has the advantage. He has the completed item.
He might just take the advantage in his own hands. Gets Zika down to half health now, and JDG are looking at mid lane with a push into the tower.
JDG are smart pulling the go button before the recall comes out from the Jax.
Oh, the setup is there, and you might not have any combos, but that is a heck of one. Scout's looking for the flank, though. Scout? Is this the difference? Oh, he flashes. Immediate responses from JDG, and the hands have never been quicker. JDG pounced right back.
I thought Scout had found it. I love the flank coming through. He almost got two, but like you said, the hands are too fast from JDG, and now massive swing in their favor. What was a slight gold lead to LNG before is now a 2,000 gold lead for JDG. They are going to have to reset, but now Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. So we might be in a place where they seem to just trade objectives.
Kanavi getting aggressed on by Tarzan. I feel like we just watched a draw go down in the middle of this town square. The hands were just too quick. My goodness, we got to take a look at this one. It was a start off by 369 with an incredible catch.
Yeah, finds the catch, Everfrost into ult. Again, all of this done because Jax now is finally going for that reset bot lane. Scout here, I thought it was so good, but just a little bit, seen for a little bit too long, gives enough time for the flash to come through, and then he ends up going down once the engage from the Rell and the Gragas come out.
That just millisecond of vision given over.
Close.
It was so close, but the fact that Missing and Ruler respond that quickly just feels really good for JDG. 369 takes that side lane turret. LNG take their first dragon of the game.
So LNG at least building up to even out these dragons. Hung, can he find it? Oh, that was so
Hung, but they know Ruler literally has nothing left after that last engagement.
Yeah, you're right. So if that hook landed, it would have been great for LNG. Mazel, let's go LNG, woo!
Gotta appreciate the bias coming through here. You want the games to go to 5, right?
It's because JDG were such heavy favorites coming in,
exactly.
And my heart always goes out to the underdog just a little bit. And yeah, so far now with the 3K gold lead, I mean, this could be thrown. LNG, I think, had a bigger gold lead than this last game when they threw, but we highlighted how good JDG are with the gold lead. Like, hell, look at what they're doing right now. LNG are trading Herald for, a tier 2 turret, and JDG might just be able to keep this going and punishing. Oh my god, they're gonna be able to get more.
Well, the Rift Herald isn't even half health here.
Gala's
Everfrost coming through. There's the combo as well. That had to be the flash from Zika. Tarzan's doing the Rift Herald, but the tower is going down. Kanavi goes in with the Magnet Storm, and that's an inhib unlocked. They're not going to take it because it's too early, but they have lasting damage acquired.
I mean, they have an avenue if this game goes like, let's say it goes too late, LNG bring it back a little bit, that you're always going to have a point where you can like threaten some side lane pressure and open up the map. So Tarzan going to use this quick window, drop down the Herald. This will be able to guarantee them mid lane turret, but still, it feels like the damage has already been done by JDG. Knight now on 2 items. We have 369 just opting to outright finish Morello. I think just being like, hey, let's try and snowball this game out fast, get more, base stats up right now. My only problem with that is you don't really have anything worth fighting over soon. Like, Baron will be up in less than a minute, but I don't know if JDG have a comp that can really just threaten to start that right off the bat.
That's the combo, though. Knight is caught. He immediately flashes, though, and Kanavi is right here as a point of return. Knight making it out alive is actually so big, but it should still be the tower going to LNG. So this will be the second one of the game for them.
Bringing all 4 members up. Zika, of course, going to be towards that bot side, but now starting to even it out. The gold lead not going to look as drastic as it was. But still, I feel like not too many opportunities unless JDG give them over to you, because at this point, I feel like you're somewhat functioning as a pick comp, right? Based around the point-and-click CC coming out from Scout, and then the burst that can fall up from either Gala or Tarzan. But that's kind of reliant on JDG overstepping, or you taking control of an area first, getting that vision down, and then making some of those plays like we just saw where you're waiting in a bush once the overstep comes through. And Look at the ping on the top side of the minimap from
Yeah.
Scout. They actually might be looking for it again.
Oh, they find him. They find him. 369 over the wall. Gala mix it out with the flash, but Hung not so lucky. JDG find the strike in mid lane.
Aw, and Scout not able to find his own play up in top.
They really want to get Knight here. They're not going to be able to find him. He's a little bit too quick. Make it out
Tivers
alive
finally
there.
comes up. So yeah, not going to mean anything at the end of the day, but it might be another huge siege from JDG because Gala has to back off, or Kanavi can just engage on him.
There's really nothing you can do in this siege. That tier 2 tower going to go down yet again, and that's so much gold that has been taken by JDG just from the macro plays around the map.
And it's like we said, right? JDG in an even game state is a great team. JDG, when they're ahead, is where they look like, okay, how far can this team go? Which, I mean, typically is how it works, you know, in pretty much any region, but still, I feel like JDG have been one of the better ones. Some of their stats in like gold leads at 10, gold leads at 15 have just been ridiculous. And now LNG really feeling the full force of that. Out of, I'd say, what has been the composition that lends them to the most, let's say, like, early game aggression, per se, has been the one where their early game's been the most muted.
Yeah, and a lot of that came from Tarzan looking but not finding, and they've been forcing this combo of Tarzan and Scout. It works in the little moments, but it's got to work in the big moments. I think it's where JDG completely find their strength, right? This is a team that last split we were talking so much about their dominance in team fights, their strength like that. This has been a different journey for them, but a journey to strength nonetheless.
Oh. Are we going to get LNG going? No. I was like, are we going to get LNG going for something a little bit cheeky? Maybe they would have, but knowing Kanavi's in the area, Tarzan's going to have to walk away for now. And it looks like for LNG, they might just end up giving up Dragon, letting JDG get on Soul Point and trying to bluff it. They'll go for the Baron.
Oh, I don't know if they get the catch out here, though. Kanavi goes right back in. He's so damn tanky. And Moonlight Vigil with the Infernum is big. Tarzan caught on the side. He gets locked down. It's Ruler who just makes it out of there. Not able to get the damage on Tarzan. 369 finally finishes him. Everything's falling apart right now for LNG. This is tragedy striking at the moment. They couldn't have it.
I just want to know how Scout got here without TPing. I was so focused on the fight. How was Scout there? I don't know. Someone out there knows, but JDG is going to take that fight. They're going to be able to get a Baron, and my God, what a comeback. They might have won game 2, but it still didn't look pretty. This one, okay, we do get a replay of what he was going for. He was going for the flank of a century. It did not work out, but I respect it massively. But here, Moonlight Vigil onto 2 members after Kanavi goes for the engage. Everfrost, so crucial from 369 to lock down Tarzan. And then LNG just gets split up, right? Zika goes one way, Tarzan forced the other. Hung having to get the hell out of dodge after the Moonlight Vigil connected on all of them.
And that just means the lead is continuing to balloon. This will be a 3rd dragon for JDG as well. And you're starting to wonder where the answers really come from for LNG. We were talking in their draft, the combos from Tarzan and Scout are a big setup for Gala to get the resets. Zika in the side lane will be important. But right now, the team composition for JDG just feels like it's come alive. And this is something that JDG have been building to, right? Like, they had a bit of a rough end of the split in week number 6, having a loss to IG 2-1, but then they roared back triumphantly in week 7, getting 2 O's across the table and showing their strength. Then they took some time. They had to wait for their round to come up, and we saw some of that awakening coming through this series so far. They still are pushing into the bot lane now, maybe even looking to take that inhib they had worked on earlier, as Gala takes so much damage.
Look, Mazel, I don't know if Yamato Cannon's co-streaming right now, but if he is, he needs to give LNG a pep talk. We need that voice giving the LNG boys a pep talk so this can have a crazy comeback, and we have like 5 more dragon fights.
Bring it on. I want the craziness. It is our game. As now that turret is not going to survive very long. It actually is going to stick around for just a little bit longer, as Tarzan has been on a flank this whole time but can't find the entrance. He's on a ward there as well. The depth charge used on a Ruler, but he is kiting away as Knight takes Tarzan down in a 1v1 potentially here. Knight gets him, and the resets come through too. Scout's not able to do much here as Kanavi is running forward. The cavalry charge. He's way too deep. The counter strikes there. A double kill has gone over to Knight. They don't have minions here either, and Hung and Zika are plenty to defend.
369? I wonder if he's going to finish it, just TP back in on a minion, but Nope, he's
Looking
fine
for
with the
the
amount of
bait.
health he has. They're just going to look to go for the end here. And
This is so dodgy. Oh, no.
It is.
Hug. There's no defense. He's got the shield. He's got the heals. He's got the engage. But you're looking on the other side, and Zika's gone. He's the
Why are
one
we
that
not
had the
ending this
damage. JDG. They're trying to finish it, but now they're a little bit hesitant. Tarzan's back alive, and so is Gala, and that means they have to run away. Tarzan doesn't want to let him, though. He wants to punish as much as possible. He can't get this. He cannot go in by himself, and he has to back off.
I feel like they looked like they were having like a bit of fun with that. Like they were trying to end, but trying to end in a more casual way, which ended them to not end, which I don't appreciate. We're going to see here, though. Tarzan was spotted out very early on. Feels like a key thing. And Zika trying to run down Ruler actually gets popped by the Nautilus ult, but that damage coming out from 369 onto Gala. Huge difference maker. He's their only consistent source of DPS. Ruler does get taken out early by Hung, finding the hook along with Zika jumping in on him. But that's after that, Mazel, I surely thought between Knight and 369, they would have the damage to end.
They did not. They played with their food a little bit too long, and it got cold. But now you got the reset. You got items completed, 3 items for all the carries.
But what is it?
But
Cold
what is
pizza?
what? The food?
Low-key solid.
I hate cold pizza.
Cold sandwiches? Phenomenal.
I'd agree with that one. You got another cold piece, or is it just LNG cold and dead in this game number 3? There's the
Tarzan's not
kickback.
cold.
The moment of weakness, though, maybe, as Knight was the target, but he doesn't go down until the fight's already going through. He's still alive after that Dustblade proc, and Ruler's been firing away the entire time. JDG just eviscerate LNG. Game number 3 wasn't even close. They want the penta kill against the pentakill Prince and Gala, and Ruler shows that he is the measuring stick once again.
JDG might have won last game, but this game feels like the awakening of JDG. This game feels like the JDG that people were expecting. The last 2 games, seriously, LNG looked like the better team, but this one, there is no doubt